Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do another experiment because I have been watching some YouTube videos online of other people reviewing some coolers, and some of those coolers have like built-in ice makers, stuff like that. And I have just a cheap Amazon bought ice maker, AC powered. And I was like, you know what? I wonder how much ice I can make with a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate 12 volt battery. I don't have the first clue on how much energy this even uses. All I know is that the cord is pretty thick. And in the manual, it did say, I think it said like it could use, if you have an extension cord plugged into it, the extension cord should be rated for at least 1800 watts. And I thought that was pretty excessive. So what I'm going to do is I have this little watt meter right here. So first I'm going to plug it into the wall. And I'm going to measure out how much one round of ice making, I'm going to see how much energy that uses, and that will give me a base on actually how much ice I'll be able to get out of this battery, hopefully. It will also tell me the size of inverter that I will need. And yeah, and actually how long this test is gonna take, because each round, I wanna say each round of ice takes about 7 minutes. This could take, I don't know how much ice this is gonna make. So let's just measure out how much energy it's gonna take for one round, and we'll start going from there. Okay, for everybody out there that does not own an ice maker, one of these little tiny portable ones, let me show you exactly how these things work. Okay, first of all, let's go ahead and plug it in. And I've got my watt meter zeroed out. All right, it's super simple. Power's on. This is the on-off switch, which we will press as soon as we're ready. Let's go and open up the lid. What it comes with is this little tray that catches the ice. And then inside, there is a water reservoir with a line for the max fill line for your water. So let's go ahead and fill that up to the max. All right. Put the tray back in, which will catch the ice. Close the lid, and actually I'll keep the lid open so you can see it. But I'm going to go ahead and press start, and we're going to start the test to see how long or how much energy this uses for one round. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit on. And what you can see is you see this tray lifting up, and what that does is it picks up the ice and drops it in here. But it also is a cup, and that cup, it fills it with water, and there's little cylindrical metal freezers. I don't know how it works. I'm guessing it uses Freon to get it really cold, but it basically holds that cup of water in place, and it freezes the ice around that metal cylinder. And after about 6 or 7 minutes, this thing will lower down, and I don't know how, but the ice breaks off from that cylinder, and then the whole process starts again. It scoops the ice and drops it into this tray, and at the same time it starts filling up with water and freezes again. I know that was a really quick explanation, but this thing is actually pretty neat, and it makes ice fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and get one round done, and we're going to see how much energy this uses. All right, I would say that we're about halfway through the ice making process, and so let's turn to our meter and see what we're using. Right now, right in the middle, we're using about 96 watts. That is not very much at all. I'm actually very surprised. What will be interesting is to see what the highest wattage rating was, so that way we can find out what type of inverter we're going to be using. Because I don't want to use a 2,000 watt inverter if most of the time it's just going to be pulling under 100 watts. So we'll find that out as soon as this round is over. All right, and there we go. As you can see, let me open it up. There's ice on there, and they are going to pop off. And it does make 8 cubes of ice. So I believe that 8 cubes is good for 1 cup of, a 1 drink cup And what it does is it scoops it up and puts it in the reservoir. And then it fills back up and it starts the whole process over again. So let's go ahead and stop it. And all the excess water just drains back into the reservoir also. So all in all, this unit is pretty snazzy. I like it. But we're not interested in that really. We are interested in how much energy it took to do that one round. So let's come over here to our watt meter. And let's see, that took right around 8 minutes. Hopefully you can see that. That took around 8 minutes. Let's go ahead and move through the functions. Let's see, it took, oh my God, 0.012 kilowatt hours. So that is not much at all. The highest amount of wattage that took was 160 watts. So I'm going to use a 500 watt inverter to run this test. I think that will be the most efficient way to do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, at first I was thinking maybe I'll just fill up like cups, so I'll represent like how many cups of ice it would make. But this could possibly run for a long time. 10 hours? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, but I have a feeling this is going to be an all-day event, and I don't have all day to do this. So I'll probably let it run for about 5 hours, and in 5 hours I will, I'm going to be scooping out the ice, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in this freezer right here so it stays frozen. So I'll be able to represent kind of what you can get out of probably 5 hours of ice. But let's go ahead and connect up a 500 watt inverter and start the test right away. Okay, and what I have here is my 500 watt inverter. I don't even know what brand this is. It just says 500 watt pure sine wave inverter. I'll have this in the description along with the ice maker and the Redodo. I'm using the Redodo 100 amp hour 12 volt mini. I want to try to keep everything as small as possible. So yeah, small battery, small ice maker, small inverter. Let's go ahead and hook it up real quick and start the test. And I am just gonna keep coming down here, scooping ice out. At first I'm gonna put it in this little ice bag that came with the ice maker. So I don't know what it will hold. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to weigh out all the ice when I'm done. So that way you have a good sense of how much ice you can get out of this. So here's my bag. Let's go ahead and hook up our inverter. Since this is a temporary setup, so I am just going to connect these clamps directly to the battery and plug it in. I'm not going to worry about fuses, stuff like that. We're just going to run this test and see how much ice we get. All right, let's unplug the ice maker, clamp on these to the battery, and I do have a battery monitor on this battery, and it's fully charged and it's zeroed out, so we'll be able to see how much energy this battery has been depleted during this test. So let's go ahead and just clamp that onto there, clamp that onto there. Gave me a little spark because I forgot to check my inverter was on or off. Kind of spooked me a little bit. Always check to make sure your inverter is off. Don't be a dummy like I just was. Okay, but this is ready to go. Let's go ahead and plug this in. And this inverter runs at 110 volts AC, 500 watt max. But it should be able to run this ice maker if that watt meter is correct. So, okay, the ice that was just made, let's go ahead and just dump it out back into the reservoir. And let's go ahead and turn it on and start the test. Uh-oh. Something happened. It did not like that. Don't tell me it can't run it. Let's try it again. The inverter never shut off, so I don't know why it couldn't pull it. I mean, I can't believe that this inverter can't pull this. I mean, if it only used a max of 260 watts, a 500 watt inverter should be fine. Oh, look at that. It is not doing it. I wonder if it's not enough wattage, or if it's I wonder if 110 volts is not going to work. So I'll go ahead and grab my 1500 watt inverter, which is unfortunate. I was hoping this 500 watt would work, but I'm going to grab my 1500 watt inverter and we'll start the test over. All right, now that 500 watt inverter for some reason didn't work, I went ahead and switched it out with this Alpha 1500 watt inverter. And let's go ahead and I've got it turned on. The battery's at 13.5 volts. And let's go ahead and angle this with a small box so we can get it plugged in. There we go. And let's start the test. Go ahead and turn it on. All right, it's filling up with water. The inverter is only showing 111 volts of AC. All right, but it is lighting up. The voltage on the inverter only shows 107 volts, so it pulls quite a bit. I'm surprised. Here's our meter, but it shows that it's only pulling 106 watts. But this test is running, so I'm going to go ahead and let it run. And after a little bit, I will let you know what the progress is. All right, the first round just got done. It used up 1.16 amp hours. So out of a 100 amp hour battery, we're looking at roughly what, 85 rounds of ice. So that's like 85 cups of ice that you might be able to get out of this. And let's see, and the ice that it generated is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty thick. It looks just like the ice that it would generate if you had this plugged into your wall. So that's excellent. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump this ice into this bag and put this bag in the freezer, and we're just gonna keep building up ice for the next 5 hours. All right, well, this ice maker has been running for about an hour and 20 minutes now. And so let's see what our progress is, and I need to dump some more of the ice back into the freezer. So running time is 1 hour and 25 minutes. Our capacity has gone down almost 12 amp hours. So we are looking at, we're looking at between 9 and 10 hours of ice making for this unit. So let me go ahead and put the ice in the bag, and I'll show you how much ice I've gotten out of an hour and a half so far. All right, well, okay, I just dumped the ice, and that's how much I've gotten so far. So about, I would say between a quarter and a third of the bag. And it feels probably about 2 pounds of ice at the most. So I'm just gonna keep going, and we're gonna hopefully fill up this bag of ice by the time this test is concluded. Okay, we are in hour 3. It says 3 hours and 2 minutes since this has been going. We've used 26 amp hours. So we've used a little over 1/4 of this battery in 3 hours. So yeah, we're looking right around 9 hours for a complete drain of this 100 amp hour 12 volt lithium iron phosphate battery. Let's go ahead and empty this ice out again. And you can see our ice bag. Our ice bag is, whoa, I would say it's 2/3 the way full right now. So that's a pretty fair amount of ice for the last 3 hours of work. But we're just gonna keep it going, and I'll come back when it's at the 5 hour mark, and we'll see how much ice we have and see what our capacity is. Okay, well, it's been 5 hours, and this is just finishing its cycle, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits right now. And we are gonna take some numbers, take some weights, and we're gonna find out exactly how much ice we can get from a 100 amp hour battery. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna weigh out 8 ice cubes to see how much that weighs. Okay, so 8 ice cubes weighs 2.5 ounces. And that is not including the container. So that is just the ice. So let's just say that 1 cup of ice for a drink is 2.5 ounces. And now what we need to do is get all this ice and put it in the bag that we have and weigh out the entire bag. All right, and what you can see, I mean, we filled this bag to the top in 5 hours. So let's go ahead and put the rest of this ice in there. All right. And now let's weigh this bag of ice to see what we have. And I just have a bathroom scale. The bag of ice, unfortunately, plus the bag, but the bag is probably 0.2 ounces. You know, it's probably nothing much. But the bag of ice is, we got 5.4 pounds. Now, let's just say it's flopping between, so let's just say 5.5 pounds of ice. Let's just say 5.5 pounds of ice in 5 hours. So 5.5 pounds times 16 ounces in a pound will give us how many ounces are in this bag. And that is 88 ounces of ice is what we got. 5.5 pounds, 88 ounces. Now, if you divide that by 2.5, which is roughly how much you get in a cup, let's just say divided by 2.5, 35.2. So in 5 hours, you can get 35 cups of ice for drinks. So 35 drinks worth of ice in 5 hours. That's all good and dandy, but how much of the battery did it take out? So let's look at the battery monitor to see what our numbers are. You can see that the running time has been a little over 5 hours. We've used up 42.8 amp hours. So that's 562 watt hours. So we haven't even used half of this battery. For simple sake, let's just say that we used up half of the battery to get that much ice right there. So, I mean, that would give us, you know, that would make it so we have 10 to 15% left in the battery when the day is done. But you're talking 10 hours. In 10 hours, we can get roughly 17 pounds of ice. And so that would be enough for 70 drinks. So, to recap, with a 100 amp hour battery, you can get about 11 pounds of ice out of it with a small AC ice maker that I found on Amazon. And again, I'll put the link in the description so you can look more into it if you want to. But you can get 11 pounds of ice, which means that is roughly 70 drinks worth of ice in 10 hours. All right, and with all that being said, I hope that this gave you some information, just in case you have one of these small ice makers, and you know, you want to take it on a camping trip, and you know that you're not going to have any plug-ins, but you do happen to have a 1500 watt inverter and a 100 amp hour battery. You can, you know, at least you know now approximately how much ice and how long that battery is going to last. That battery is going to last 10 hours. It's going to give you about 11 pounds of ice, which is equivalent to, in my estimate, about 70 drinks. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.